introduce you, you actually, so it's Tony, but you actually write as A.L. Buxton,
Yeah,
and you write big epic fantasy.
big.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about how you started writing?
Yeah, so I started, I think I was 22 years old. I got my inspiration because I was quite a big gamer and watch a lot of TV shows, TV series, etc. I always just wanted to like create my own story from that, like being fascinated with other people's stories. So I just went with that, and we started off with the Lost Sons of the West, the fantasy series, which has been long, but will be finished hopefully in like maybe a year or two. I've only got the fifth one left to write. The anthologies have been fun too. Really enjoyed doing the short stories, plucking characters from my own series, and then writing about how they came into the story. So it's been an adventure. Great, I love it.
So just to go back to you, so when you first turned up at our office in Billingham, when you called us and you said, I've got a book, can I come and talk to you? And we had no idea what it was about. And you came in and you put a manuscript this big on the table and said, I've written a big epic fantasy. It's like, oh my goodness. And then you said you'd written it all on your phone.
Yeah, it was all done on my phone. So I was working as an apprentice welder in Darlington at the time, and during my breaks, I was sneaking off and writing it on my phone. I had the Word app on my phone. I think it took about a year and 3 months doing it that way. But yeah, a few people were quite surprised at that method of writing it. But that was just for the first one. I managed to get a computer after that.
So the first is big. It's a big book, the first one, and the second one is as big, and it's not just big in length. It's actually you've got it's set in a fantasy world in a sort of a medieval. You don't have magic or whatnot. It's a sort of medieval battles,
Yeah,
factions in the world, kings fighting against each other for land,
yeah,
basically.
yeah.
And it's
It's
the
like,
so tell us a little bit about how you set up your factions, your families, the ruling classes.
yeah, so I use like what I would think of like a realistic perception of back in that time. So like you said, no magic, no monsters, anything like that. Um, it's a group of characters that are essentially mercenaries in the wilderness with the bigger realms around them on the verge of civil war, basically. Um, and it's how they're all intertwined and coming together, how the main company of mercenaries are linked with each of the royal families in a certain way.
So it's a very big story. How do you keep track of it? When you were writing it on your phone, was it all just in your head? Did you have
It,
notes?
it was in my head, but we found later down the line there was mistakes, well, not necessarily mistakes, but timing issues. So going back through, so I definitely learned to like be more like, what's the word, to manage it better the further on we went. At the beginning it was in my head and I had notes, of course, but we had a few issues where we had to go back over. But if it runs easier now, I'm deeper into the series now, I know how to manage it better.
Okay, brilliant. And you're one of our Harveys, so you're a Harvey regular.
Yeah,
And it's been really nice to take those, like you say, the short stories, which sort of focusing on one character who might not necessarily have been that big in the book, but to give them some background. So how have you found writing those and being a Harvey?
yeah, it's absolutely amazing. I enjoy the short stories of recent. I enjoy writing them more than my actual series because exactly like you just said, I love picking the smaller characters and revealing their entire story and adding a whole new, like adding their world into the main world. But it's amazing. Yeah, I think have I done four for you? Is it four?
I
Maybe
don't know,
five? I'm not sure.
quite a few. We're up to we've got 8 volumes out, and I think you've only missed 1 or 2.
Yeah, but it's been great. Keeping on doing them.
Brilliant. So what are you working on now?
I'm revamping, almost finished a revamp for book 2, haven't I? I'm planning my short story for the next volume, and we only have one more book to write in the series, but I'm waiting till we play a bit of catch up first before I finish the 5th one. So yeah, just still the fantasy series and the short stories at the minute. I also have a podcast, but it's not related to the writing. YouTube podcast that we do about football. So they're the things I'm doing at the minute.
Cool. Do you still work? You've got a blog as well, don't you?
Yeah, yeah. I haven't been on the blog as much as I used to be, but I still have it. But we had like a regular schedule, which it was starting to make my time a bit cramped with my new work and stuff like that. So it's still active, still there. I plan on using it, but yeah, not as much as I do with the podcast and the writing.
So you do contract work, don't you? So you work, you travel to work, you work all hours, and you still manage to do your writing.
Yeah.
How do people when they see you, sort of a young lad from Teesside, from Billingham, and you're writing these massively huge, big, complex books and working, what sort of response do you get from people?
Yeah, a lot of people are very surprised when I tell them, actually, when I'm like working away and stuff, that's what I do. I've actually made a few paperback sales doing that because there's a lot of downtime when you're contracting so people read. But yeah, my ideas always come from work as well, because when I'm working, it's always in my mind. All my character creation and plot creation comes from just plodding on at work, if I'm honest.
Cool. And how so thinking about because we just before lockdown, you were getting out and about with your books, and then so how was the last year affected, not just your writing, but how you've actually, because all the events just stopped because we were getting your books out and about at Comic Cons, and we were just lining you up for some, and that all stopped. How has being in lockdown affected your life in general, but specifically the writing?
Yeah, it's been frustrating, hasn't it? Because we had plans for it in motion. I hadn't done many like events, but we discussed that I was going to do more, and I was happy to do more. Start giving it a real push. Obviously, we can't do anything about that, can we? So that's a bit of a struggle. The only thing I've benefited from it is the time. I've managed to completely revamp the first book, literally 10 chapters away from the second. Third book needs a touch up. Like the time has been fine because of how much I can do. But in effects of being able to get it out there, it's suffered. Can't really, obviously financially, not being able to pump any real money into it to advertise it about. So yeah, it's definitely on like a stall in it, but I'm sure all the other authors are the same.
How you found the writing? Because we've talked to a few people. Our writers seem to be split into two camps. Some people have really used the time and done loads, and some people have really struggled with the like the level of anxiety with all the dramas of the real world. So which would you say you've actually done quite a lot of writing then?
Yeah, like quite a fair bit, if I'm honest. I think over 1 week I had to go to my girlfriend's house to self-isolate with them. And over the 10 days, I think I'd revamped about 25 chapters. And it was taking months to do that much before it. So I've definitely been able to write more. But with the time I found it easy to do it.
So
If I
really
hadn't,
the time element.
yeah, if I wasn't doing the revamping, I reckon I could have had my fourth book finished by now if I wasn't concentrating on that.
So is that what you're working on now? Because I've got your third one.
Yeah.
So is it the fourth one that you're writing now, as well as the short stories for Harvey?
Yeah, but I'm taking it very slow. I've only done 18 chapters in it, and it's going to be roughly 60 to 65 chapters. So it's slow moving. I feel like I can push it quicker once I know whereabouts we are, once the lockdown's over and all that. So yeah, but that's it. That's in motion.
Cool. I've got to ask as well, even though we're recording this, without giving any spoilers away, you did a flipping Game of Thrones and killed one of your main characters. Did you get over that? Have you managed to write around it? Because I know you said at one point you wished you hadn't.
It's devastated me for about 2.5 years of my life now. I can't deal with it. I almost done it again with another character. I think I was speaking to you about that, but I managed to create a decent little plot twist to save that. But yeah, in the early second book when I'd done that, I've worked around it, of course, but I feel like the character would have been more effective alive than dead.
He was my favorite character.
It was everyone who's ever read it has said that's my favorite character. I know. Might have to add a magical element to it and bring him back or something. I don't know.
Or a short story in Harvey, you could go back in time. This is one of the things with the short stories, is you can leap about in time.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be interesting to do. I've already done a short story on this character's father, which isn't in the story at all, but he's mentioned. He's like a hero of the past. yeah, there will definitely be one about that character also.
Brilliant, without giving away anything that happens.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Is there anything you'd like to add?
No, that's fine. I've enjoyed the discussion. It's been fun to speak about the writing again.
Yeah, definitely. And the point of these interviews is to show how many creative people there are,
Yeah,
and specifically ours are publishing books that are out there on the worldwide stage.
yeah, definitely.
So and finding audiences and readers worldwide from right here
Yeah,
in Teesside.
yeah, it's great. There's lots around here now, isn't there? I love it. Everyone's going for it. It's good.
Brilliant. It's lovely talking to you. Thank you ever so much for joining us,
Yeah,
and
of
we'll
course.
catch up soon.
Yeah, thanks very much. Nice
Okay,
seeing you
thank
again.
you. Take
Cheers.
care.
Thanks. Bye.